Kekius Maximus is the latest Elon Musk inspired meme coin. It's also inspired by Kekius Maximus, which already had a quite nice run. The question is, who's buying here actually? Is this a fundamental rally or is this a pump and dump? We're going to have a look at the on-chain data, the data most people are not considering. Now we're currently at 16 cents. We are up 94% today, and this video is about the token on Ethereum. So among the trending tokens on the ETH chain, Kekius Maximus is at place number 37 with a liquidity pool of 2.8 million. There are also Kekius Maximus tokens on Solana, however they are smaller and they tend to be very risky. Have a look at this. There's only a liquidity pool of $34,000 and that went down by more than 50%. There's multiple Kekius Maximum tokens. Again, we are not looking at the ones on Solana. We are discussing the token that's been around for a while, which is currently at 16 cents and which, by the way, has a token address of 0x26E, and then it ends with 7DD9. Now this looks like a relatively constant drama-free increase over time, but that's actually not true. This is a logarithmic chart. Once we look at this on a linear chart, we actually see how much drama there is. There was a drop on the 1st of January within 12 hours by almost 80%. Now what caused that drop? Probably the suspension of the Twitter account. When a token gets its Twitter account suspended, that's not necessarily great, because then of course the centralized exchanges will also have a hard time listing the token. But it seems like we are currently regaining again, right? That's why we doubled in the last 24 hours. Who is buying here? Can we see new all-time highs again? The website is still online and the tokenomics look relatively simple. There are more than 12,000 members on the Telegram channel and there are 24,000 holders on the Ethereum chain. Now, not all of those holders are created equal. That's why I always like to look at the number of retail investors versus whale investors over time based on minimum holding thresholds. So for the chart on the left, we've got the number of wallets that have at least 7,000 Kekius Maximus tokens. So at the current price, that's a bit over $1,000 worth of the token. In the middle, we go a 10x from that, so that's now $10,000 worth of the token. And on the right, we go another 10x, so that's now $100,000 worth of the token. We can clearly see constant adoption by retail, which absolutely accelerated in the morning hours of the 31st of December of last year. We also see a jump in adoption for medium-sized retail during that time, but we do not see that accumulation whatsoever among the whales. There are two potential explanations for this. The first explanation is that there's simply just manipulation on chain, that maybe the team is sending the token to a lot of small wallets, or alternatively, there had been some kind of marketing event. But the big whales, they already knew about the marketing event, they bought in before, and only the small guys, they bought. And so that's what caused this massive rally. And we can clearly see how the majority of holders did not sell during the subsequent 80% dump. There was a few very large pockets that sold. It was not the aggregate of the holder base. In other words, this dump was not necessarily natural. But the same is true for this recent pump. We also do not see the number of holders suddenly doubling, even though the price is doubling in the last 24 hours. We can see a similar effect in the number of new wallets over time per day. So on the left side, we see the number of new users versus returning users per day. And again, this shot up on the 31st of December. That's also when the ratio of new users versus returning users was very bullish, right? 63% new users versus only 36% returning users. This is now stabilizing again. And the same is true for the ratio of buyers versus sellers. It's now stabilizing again to a slight overhang of buyers versus sellers. Now there's an interesting shift happening in the last few days. It seems like money is not flowing into crypto anymore. There was a pretty strong expansion in the last weeks. This expansion seems to have halted. Have a look at this. This is the market cap of various stablecoins, so DAI, USDT, USDC, BUSD. And whenever this line is going up, this means that money is flowing from the traditional finance world into crypto. Whenever this is going down, it means that people are withdrawing from crypto. And the crypto market as a whole is rather shrinking. Since October of 2023, we are on expansion mode. But have a look at what happens in the last few days. We aren't yet clearly turning around, but we're definitely not growing either. Since the middle of December 2024, we tend to go sideways and we might even now shrink slowly. Now, as long as we are shrinking very slowly or we're going sideways, things are okay when we've got an edge in the market now, right? It's still player versus player, but as long as we have got data that's better than what most other people have, we can still make money. It simply just gets a bit tougher. Have a look at this here. This is the others dominance. So how much of all of crypto is in altcoins that are not in the top 10? And we seem to be somewhat historically in a trading range. Currently, we are not necessarily super elevated, but we are not at rock bottom either. The altcoins in aggregate could still continue to go down. In the last few days, we definitely did not go up. The potential underperformance of altcoins versus the rest of the market is another 16% loss. At the same time, Bitcoin is still above its best moving average, the 120-day, but there is potential, even in a continued bull market, to still drop by maybe 15%, all the way down to 80k. The market seems to be clearly shifting to artificial intelligence related tokens. The Virtuals protocol ecosystem gained 47% in the last week. AI agent launchpads in general performed very well. AI memes, AI agents, it's all artificial intelligence. What did not do so well? It's mainly the technical tokens. It's oracles, it's IoT, it's perpetual futures markets, it's data availability, infrastructure, etc. And so as we're becoming more and more player versus player, having somewhat of a market edge versus the others becomes more and more important. For example, have a look at this. This is Kyle Chessy, influencer Kyle Chessy, that bought AI16Z for only 1.8 cents. He actually bought into the token several times. He was dollar cost averaging very, very aggressively. And now the price is not at a few cents. Now it's at $1.77. Pretty much a 100x. And so this is how I believe we can get a market edge. This is how we can win in this player versus player game. We have to follow people that historically made good trades, but we also have to follow people that can move the markets. Here is the YouTube channel of Kyle Chessy. He's got 141,000 subscribers. And here are the wallets that we track by Kyle Chessy. So we've got 12 of his wallets. We've got more than 400 wallets in total. And that is how we get alerts like this, how he swapped for AI16Z at less than 2 cents. Now, Kyle Chessy is a guy that tends to make this VC approach, right? The venture capital approach, where you buy a lot of tokens with a lot of upside potential, but where you're already calculating that many of those tokens will go to zero. So the calculation is not necessarily that we can simply buy everything that Kyle Chessy buys and we make wins all the time. The calculation is rather that the wins are so large in magnitude that you can afford a lot of losses, right? When you've got one win that makes 100x, then you can have 9 out of 10 losers. It's still fine. You make very nice performance. This is what Kyle Chessy is doing. But have a look at this. We don't just have Kyle Chessy. We are also tracking Crypto Banter. We've got 33 of their wallets. And Crypto Banter clearly moves markets. They've got 1.1 million subscribers. Whenever they talk about a single token, of course, this brings a lot of attention. Attention then brings purchases. Purchases then bring increasing prices. Or check this out. This is Alex Becker. We've got 12 of his wallets. He's got even more subscribers. He's got 1.5 million and he tends to talk about small tokens as well, again influencing prices. And so this is all part of the premium membership of this channel. It's down below. It's thebitcoinstrategy.com. Feel free to check it out. There's not just wallet tracking alerts, right? We've also got tutorial videos, more than 100 in total, on topics like risk mitigation, portfolio diversification, back testing, and of course also wallet tracking. There's even a dedicated tutorial course on just how to find influencer wallets and how to then track them and how to subsequently also interpret the signals that we get from the tracking. Once we've got a signal, we also have to discuss, of course, when should we buy, when should we sell, what are the current on-chain analytics, etc. That's why we've got dedicated chats on the individual altcoins in premium as well. So feel free to check it out. It's currently $165 per month. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, in case you don't learn anything, then feel free to simply just message me within the first 7 days and I'll refund you 100%. There's really zero risk for you. Now, does it make sense to buy Kekius Maximus now that it's recovering from this massive crash? The question is, what's the potential upside, right? We always have to look at what's the upside versus the potential downside. And I like to take market caps as a reference point. Have a look at the top meme coins across all chains. Kekius Maximus is by far the best performer in the last 7 days. It went up by 12,000%. And that in itself creates a lot of attention. But have a look at the market cap. It's currently at 154 million. Within the universe of meme tokens, that's not necessarily that large. It could easily do another 2x, 3x, maybe 4x. But it very much depends on how much commitment is there still by the large holders. If the whales continue to offload, then a centralized exchange listing is not going to be that likely. And it's always the centralized exchange listings and the purchases by market makers that can move a token from 100 million to maybe 500 million. You will not see a lot of tokens worth 500 million without any ownership by the market makers and by the Binances of this world. And so I'm quite skeptical that Kekius Maximus can reach the old all-time highs. Again, there's already so much competition. There's a lot of other tokens that try to take the exact same meme as well on chain. It might make sense to have a closer look at the Solana-based tokens and see which ones of those is still safe, it's not a rug pull, and can potentially outperform the rest. For the Ethereum-based token though, the recent dump is probably enough of a scare to stay away. And when the whales also rather continue to offload now, why should we then continue buying in? If you got some value out of this video, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you in the next video or see you in premium. Cheers!